I always do the same mistake. Hi, you guys are watching the Mac and Cheese podcast. I'm your host, Mary, and Landry will be my guest tonight. If you want to follow him there, please do on Twitter or his YouTube channel. Do you want to tell the audience where you are on YouTube?
Yeah, sure. I'm on YouTube at cheeseheads_weekly. You can find me on X at cheeseheads_W.
Yes. His YouTube and Twitter will be in the bio, so if you guys want to follow him there, please do. We won against the Texans yesterday. What was your first thoughts about that game?
Well, I would say my first thoughts were a win is a win. I mean, it was not exactly pretty, but we got it done. And really kind of what's been the issue all year has been kind of inconsistency, and we're still looking to find that. But I mean, we'll take a win any way we can get it, and it's still early, so we still have plenty of time to figure things out before playoffs.
Yeah. Like Justin said, yesterday was an extremely stressful win. Agreed. It was very, very stressful. So how I took this, I don't know did you write notes about the game yesterday?
No, I did not. I'm going off the top of my head here.
No, it's okay. So I broke it down by quarter, basically, of the big moves necessarily. So should we start off with first quarter?
Sure. Yep.
So from first quarter, I have Xavier McKinney with the sack. And Rashawn Gary has a sack, which is good for the momentum of the defense of the ball. That's what started it off. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, certainly some good things from the defense, and McKinney, continues to find ways to kind of impact the game in many different ways. So definitely great to see him continue to produce.
And I don't know if you can see chat, but Justin said Eric Wilson had 2 sacks as well in first quarter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Second quarter, Tucker Kraft's touchdown. The amazing catch touchdown.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that stuck out to you?
Yeah, I mean, that was big for sure. Great throw, great catch, even better catch, honestly. And so that was definitely huge for them, and that put them up 7-3 at the time. So a very big touchdown to get things started.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Justin, if you have any, or the two of you guys, if you guys have any chat, please pitch in. Third quarter. Halftime was not a big issue, I don't think. Halftime, I think the players just got a talk, do better kind of deal.
Yep.
Third quarter. Josh Jacobs got his first career ever receiving touchdown since 2018 in the NFL.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Longest running back, I believe, or longest streak for a running back to not have a receiving touchdown. So I'm sure that was pretty special for him, and obviously very helpful for the Packers as well, and helped them go up 21-19.
Yes. Also, one quick moment, that Josh Jacobs did not keep that ball from his first receiving touchdown because it went to Jordan Love, because that was his 50th receiving touchdown in the league. So
Gotcha.
And then James just said that throw reminded me so much of the Rodgers to Adams, most impressive throw I've seen out of Jordan Love make so far. I mean, that Jaden Reed one last game was phenomenal too. That 18.7% chance or whatever it was to make it against the Rams.
Yeah.
a couple of games ago. That was impressive.
For sure.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan's made a lot of great throws, so it's hard to pick one when you're talking about how a great throw that he's made. But yeah, he made quite a few great throws in this one. That's for sure.
Justin just said the Tucker Craft touchdown was like a Favre like great laser pass. Yeah, that's a good point because I don't know about you, but I've seen Love determined as a Favre and Rodgers for comparison. I'm not sure about you. What do you have seen so?
I would. I mean, if you look at the box score specifically, he definitely looks a lot like Favre. A lot of touchdowns, a lot of interceptions. I think he's a little bit of both, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's just going to throw near as many interceptions in his career as Brett Favre did, and obviously he did learn under Aaron Rodgers. So I think that some of that is going to help him out, and I think he's going to continue to get better at protecting the ball like he was towards the end of last year. So I'm not too concerned about that. But
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, certainly something that would be best if it could be cleaned up sooner rather than later.
Don't like the turnovers. Much of Houston's points were scored, and thanks to the turnovers. Yeah, that's a good point because CJ Stroud did not have a passing touchdown yesterday, which was phenomenal. It was all running. So that means, and also our defense. Who do you think deserved the game ball? Not who did it, but who do you think deserved it?
I mean, watching the game, Eric Wilson was definitely a big part of the game, and that was huge with Quay Walker going down with the injury. So it's great to see Eric Wilson out there making plays, 2 sacks, and four total tackles for loss, pass breakup. So that was definitely huge to see him step up.
I know the Packers got 3 game balls. Do you have any? Do you have 2 others players or positions that deserve it?
Well, not sure I remember who all got a game ball. I know Daniel Whelan did. He is certainly deserving of one.
Brandon McManus as well, the kicker, and Jeff Hafley were the 3.
Yep, for sure. Very deserving of that. I would say Romeo Dobbs could definitely get one. I could definitely see Josh Jacobs in that conversation as well. Big games from both of those guys.
Maybe Christian Watson, maybe.
Perhaps he didn't impact the game very much in this one. 1 for 9 receiving and had a carry for -4 yards. So,
true.
I mean, he certainly does impact the game in more ways than just production-wise than just what you see in the box score. But I wouldn't say this was his best game by any means.
Justin said, kudos to the fan who denied Joe Mixon's Lambeau leap. Yeah. And then he got escorted out or something. Saw that. And then agreed on Dobbs. He should have gotten one. Yeah. End around plays were not good. Do you have any thoughts about those 3 comments? Well, Justin's. About the fan denied Joe Mixon's leap.
I mean, I'm all right with that, I guess. Doesn't really doesn't really bother me. In fact, I mean, if it's me, if I was the Packers fan there, I don't think I would probably let Mixon get into the stands because, I mean, if you score a touchdown, I don't really care who you are. A Lambeau leap is pretty special, and I'm sure he would have liked to be able to pull that one off. But as far as the end around plays, not so good this time. I don't think that's a huge indicator of anything down the road. I think the Packers are going to continue to use them, and they're going to continue to have success. It just seemed like the Texans were pretty ready for them, and in some of the cases, I don't think the blocking was all that great either. So certainly execution can be better as well. As far as Dobbs, a very big game for him. I've always been a huge fan of Dobbs, and it's great to see him coming back strong, 2 games after the suspension.
Yeah. And then Justin also said he thought he saw that fan with McManus. That's a good point. McManus doing his first ever Lambeau Leap too, and the whole pretty much team doing it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty much. Did you see that? I don't know if you saw that.
I did. Yeah, saw the clip.
The Lambeau Leap is so special. Like you said, I don't care who does it. Anyone can pretty much do it. Mm-hmm. Like I saw Aaron Jones do it at the Vikings game too yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel to finally have a kicker?
Oh, it feels amazing.
So are you, speaking of kicker, let's just get into kicker. Brandon McManus. Were you yay for him, nay for him? How were you feeling?
Yeah, as far as McManus, when they signed him, he had the off-field issues, and I'm never a huge fan of signing anyone with those type of blemishes to his record, I guess. But I mean, they needed a kicker, and they trusted the investigation. Goody came out and said that. And so I trust the Packers organization for now, and I'm sure, McManus is going to be on a short leash, and if something like that happens again, he will be gone. And so I trust the Packers in that regard. I really did not like that part of it, but they were desperate for a kicker, and I think McManus is that guy that can really lock things down for him, that veteran. Certainly not a long-term solution, but he should be great for this year for a team that's, looking to compete.
Long snapper. Matthew Orsic was released today due to Jonathan Ford coming back off IR. What are your thoughts about Orsic?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him. The Packers have not been able to seemingly find a long snapper. I don't think they've had a really great one for quite some time now. And that has impacted. I mean, that does, make a big difference. At least half of the whole field goal kicking process is the snap and the hold. And so you want to have someone who can give you that good snap. And we have not really seen that from Orsic. He's been quite inconsistent. Mm-hmm. And from what I've seen on X from Packers beat writers, it really seems like Orsic is going to be back with the team. This is just a move to keep Jonathan Ford on the roster, keep him from reverting back to injured reserve for the remainder of the year. And they will likely bring Orsic back because obviously they do need a long snapper. And they've not been able to find really any other great options. So I anticipate him being back, but they certainly could do better at the position.
For me, I would have preferred Peter Bowden back from Wisconsin in the rookie, the long snapper, but he's trying out for the Dolphins, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't really know. It's hard to scout long snappers, but I mean, the fact that they did release Bowden over Orsic tells me that probably he wasn't really the solution either, and so I guess it is just hard to find really good long snappers. Good players at that position. So I'm fine with Orsic.
Wheeling saved the last snap. Yeah, the punter.
For sure.
Punter deserved that game ball, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
James just mentioned, in this case, this team is too damn talented to be wasted by special teams. It's worth the risk, in my opinion, about McManus.
Yeah. I mean, I would mostly agree with that. Like I said, I'm never going to condone any type of off-field issue like that, and that's why I have been a huge just not a fan at all of Deshaun Watson and that whole situation. And so I think players like that should be, should have to suffer the consequences, for their actions, and they need to realize, that this is, it's more than just them. And so it's more than just playing the sport, and playing the sport does not excuse you from doing whatever you want to do. So certainly I'm not going to say that what he did was okay, but I do trust the Packers organization and their investigation. And, they decided that, that everything was good. They could bring him in. And so I'm sure if anything happens again, they will be quick to cut him.
And I was going to say the Packers are also usually a second team kind of thing with that too. Like Brandon Cox Jr. was the same issue. He had off the field issues, and then he's just inactive now. And then Brandon McManus off the field issues. My friend Peter mentioned this. Do you think the NFL could suspend him, McManus? He was not suspended because he wasn't signed to a team. Do you think the NFL could suspend him? And then who would we put in a kicker if that happened? If that were to happen.
If it was going to happen, and I don't think it will, but if it did, I'm sure they would just, pick up someone like Narvison again. But I don't think he will be suspended. From what it sounded like, Goody seemed to think that everything was cleared up with the investigation. They couldn't find enough evidence to suspend him.
Okay.
So I don't believe that is in the cards at this time.
Okay. Justin said keep Jaden Reed away from punt returns. Yes. He's an important player on offense. Yes. Because that's how he hurt his ankle last week. It can unfortunately happen with any play.
It can. And I don't blame you for thinking that way. To me, there's enough risk in playing the game no matter what, that that's the way it's going to be. Although punt returns, there is a fair amount of injuries, not necessarily to the returner, but just the fact that you're running full speed down the field and you definitely can take some hits as a punt returner. But I really don't care too much who's out there. I just want whoever it is to be able to protect the ball and basically just put the best player possible out there. And so whether that's Nixon or whether that's Reed, it's really up to the Packers to figure that out. But I do know Nixon wasn't totally. I think they trust Reed to field the punts a little bit more. But Nixon has looked very dynamic when he has the ball in his hands as a returner. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think they'll probably keep rotating them to an extent. But
for punt and kick, you mean? Punt and
probably
kick.
Just for punt. I expect Nixon to keep his job as the kick returner. Yeah.
James said Karma got Watson, plain and simple. Yeah. We saw Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles yesterday. Yeah. It is what it is. Injuries happen this whole entire game.
It could happen to anyone. I don't I don't believe in karma, but
okay.
For sure it's rough for him, and in a way I feel bad for the guy. But in the end he made the decision to do what he did, and he made a mistake, and in my opinion he should not be playing in the NFL.
Okay. James said, why can't Keyshawn Nixon be the full-time returner on both kicks and punts? I don't get why we haven't done that yet.
I think the only thing that's really holding them back is potentially the fact that Nixon is a cornerback, and so for that reason, maybe ball security is a priority, especially when you're fielding a punt. And so I think that's why they want Reed. Plus, Reed is quite the specimen with the ball in his hands. Very good, running after the catch and everything. And so that's also something to keep in mind. But Nixon has looked very dynamic. And so as long as he can protect the ball, I have no problem making him the full-time returner.
Okay. So Justin said Nixon is an all-pro returner for a reason. Yeah. Though the new kickoff rule hasn't been friendly for him. Thoughts on new kickoff rule?
Yeah. I don't mind the new kickoff rule. If it helps, with player safety, if it actually is proven to lower the risk of injury, I'm all for it. I don't think it's really changed anything a whole lot as far as kick returns. I don't think we've really seen any more. I haven't really looked at the numbers if it's more or less. But either way, I don't think it's changed a whole lot, and it just teams are still going to try to keep the ball away from Nixon. So it doesn't really matter what the kickoff rule is. You're going to have a hard time getting Nixon returns when you are afraid he could, take it all the way back the other way for a score.
Yeah, yeah. What was your most impressive win so far out of the Packers? Like the
Yeah, I
Titans,
would say
Colts,
if you're looking at their best game overall, just performance wise, I would say last week versus the Cardinals was a very
oh,
complete game,
okay.
offensively, defensively, basically all the way around. If you're looking for impressive win, I would say it probably has to be this game versus the Texans. Texans obviously a very good team, and the Packers,
Yeah.
did a great job to be able to pull off the win.
Yeah, I was going to say the Titans, but then we didn't have Jordan Love, so that's a different story too. I feel
Well,
like
I
for
mean, that's impressive in its own right, just with the fact that Malik Willis was out there,
right. Yeah.
and what Matt LaFleur and was able to do with him, and Willis was very
Yeah.
solid himself. So yeah.
Also, I feel like the Rams game too, maybe because we were so close to Xavier history against the Cardinals that we did not get it, but
Hmm.
one of them could still happen.
Yeah.
Justin said there has been more touchbacks currently than
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, teams have not really been afraid to kick it out of the end zone,
right.
even though, the ball's going to the 30-yard line. If they can keep teams from, with their dynamic returners from, potentially making the field even shorter, they're going to do that. And so, maybe that's even, I mean, Nixon is still an asset just in that regard due to the
Mhm.
fact that, if teams are kicking away from him, that means, he's definitely a major threat.
Justin just made a good point. Quarterbacks are afraid of throwing it to Xavier McKinney.
For sure. If you play the way McKinney has through, the first 7 weeks now, you're going to see that. So that's, kind of almost the Jair Alexander effect. Teams have been throwing it more his way. He's not been quite as good as he once was, but
No.
um, yeah, if you have someone that's consistently, taking it away and just blanket coverage every single play,
Yeah.
you're not going to get the ball thrown to you, and that's also a huge asset, because that means they have to target someone else, and the Packers have Jair Alexander as well in that secondary. Evan Williams has been quite
Yep.
quite good at safety, and of course, you have Javon Bullard in that mix as well. I'd say the weakest link would be Eric Stokes and potentially Keyshawn Nixon, although I don't think he's been terrible this year either.
Nixon.
Uh, not yeah, Nixon I think has been okay. Stokes has not been very good, and he's been
Right.
picked on more than anyone. But
Yeah.
this is still a very good secondary, and we've certainly seen that so far.
So I know it's way too early, but we're gonna do this anyways. Who do you think comes back next in the offseason? Like out of the players now that we have, who do you think comes back for next season?
Well, I'd have to look up
The
who the
list.
free agents would be.
Well, I know it's Stokes, Myers, that class. It's gonna be Stokes,
Yeah,
Myers,
that draft class. Okay.
Eric
Uh,
Stokes,
yeah.
Josh
Um,
Myers, center. That's tough.
yeah.
It's
Those
probably not out there.
definitely two starters. I would say Stokes and Meyer specifically have kind of underperformed a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and so um, you could. I. It's hard to say. I would say I have a hard time seeing Stokes back unless he comes back on a cheap deal.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it all comes down to what kind of money they command on the open market, and if it's more
Yeah.
than the Packers are willing to pay, they're not going to pay. So it's
Stokes probably won't be back. Neither will Josh Myers. That's what James just said.
pretty much, yeah.
This is also the win for Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. Which one do you bring back, if not both?
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one, and I think those two could be coveted on the open market. Both have
Okay.
shown flashes of brilliance, and it's always great to have
So If
great
you can bring back,
receivers.
which one would you bring back? If you can bring
Yeah.
back one, which would it be? Who would it be?
If I could bring back one, that is a very tough question, not gonna lie. That's I mean, two different skill sets. You got Dobbs, who's, more of a technician, route runner, and of course you got Watson, blazing speed. But of course you have Watson. I would say Watson is probably better when he's healthy, but you
Mhm.
also have the injury history to factor
Right.
in. So it depends what you're looking for as a team. But if I had to keep someone, I would probably go Romeo Dobbs. But
Okay.
that is a very tough question.
That's what James just said, Dobbs, because he can stay more healthy than Watson. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
Dobbs also
reliability
has had some injury scares
for
though.
sure.
So I don't know. Like you said, it's hard to choose because we I feel like Love has the better connection with Watson at the moment. But they can also go back and forth. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I think Love has overall, and honestly, whoever's been at quarterback, even when Malik Willis was at quarterback, I think Dobbs has been just about the kind of the safety blanket type option, very reliable on third downs and in the red
Mhm.
zone specifically. And obviously, his ability to stay on the field is very helpful as well. And so, yeah, reliability is a very great ability. And so, if you have that, that's in a wide receiver, that's very good to have. And so I would say, yeah, I'd probably go with Dobbs, and he certainly seems to develop chemistry with his quarterback quite quickly, whether it is Malik Willis or Jordan Love.
Mhm. Um, a lot of our other fans wanted to know your division winner for each division as well. It's kind
Okay,
of tough. It's early.
yeah, for sure.
NFC East.
NFC East, that is
Tough.
an interesting
Tough.
division to be
Exactly. Yep.
sure. And right now, amazingly, it is the Commanders at the top of this division who I would
Okay.
probably have said they would be third coming into the year, probably not lower than the Giants.
Yep.
They're kind of a train wreck at this moment. If I had to guess, I guess I would have to say the Commanders. I have not seen enough out of the Eagles and the Cowboys to
Mhm.
think they're going to be very good. Now I know they're going to win games, and I think we could see some better showings from them. But the Commanders have been the team to beat in that division so far, and so I
Is that with
have to
Jaden
go with.
Daniels playing though? Because he's injured as of yesterday. He hurt his ribs. I know.
Okay, yeah,
So
that is with him playing.
okay.
Did not know
Yeah.
that he was injured, but yes, if Daniels misses significant time, that could change, obviously. But if
Okay.
he's able to stay healthy for the majority of the season, I can see the Commanders doing very well.
It was a rib injury, but from what I'm aware of, he did not break or fracture any of them. So that's good.
Yeah, that's a good sign for sure.
NFC South.
Yeah, that's
That's
surprisingly turned into a very competitive division, and have the Buccaneers and the Falcons. The Saints had a very hot start their first 2 weeks. They have not won a game since. I would probably have to go with the Bucks. Baker Mayfield has continued to look great, even with Dave Canales departing, and so I think him and the resurgence of um, Chris Godwin is going to really help this team. And it seems like they have multiple running backs as well that can get the job done. So I think they're a pretty solid all around team that could really, make some waves even come postseason.
James just said such a bummer we don't get to see Caleb against Jaden next week. Yeah, it's Bears versus Commanders next week. That's gonna be
Yeah, that would be a fun one.
fun. South still belongs to Tampa in my opinion. Yeah. NFC West. This is tough.
For sure. And I would have to say 49ers. I know the Seahawks are in front at the moment, but I cannot see the 49ers being that bad that they will lose this. I think they're going to figure something out, and especially if McCaffrey can come back before too long, that'll help them out as well. So I got to stick with the 49ers on this one.
Also, the 49ers barely lost against the Chiefs too yesterday. That game was close.
Yeah, and I mean, it is the Chiefs, so
All right.
um,
Oh, true. James just said the Niners are totally doomed without Ayuk and Debo. Yeah, one of them tore his ACL yesterday too. I think it was Ayuk, or yeah, I think it was
wow,
Ayuk.
did
So
not
that
see
hurt
that.
the 49ers badly. Yeah, it was like third quarter or something of that game yesterday. And
Gotcha.
then
Yeah,
I think
did
it
see
was
that.
Debo who got sick too. Pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, it's in the hospital it says.
Oh no.
So that's not great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Ayuk who tore his ACL. That's what I thought.
Looks like he tore his ACL and MCL, so
Oh
that's
no.
longer recovery. So
And Debo has pneumonia. Oh
okay,
no. There's our answer about the sickness. Oh
yeah.
no.
Well,
NFC North. Cal.
yeah. NFC North looks like could be almost the best division in football right now.
I think it
Something,
is the best division right now.
yeah, and something I know people were talking about that coming into the year. I didn't really anticipate that happening because I thought
Okay.
the Vikings would probably not be nearly as good as
Yeah.
they are.
Yep.
And I expected the Bears to not be all that great, which they didn't start all that great, but they somehow are still uh 4-2 right now and in fourth place. And you got the Packers now in third place behind the Lions and Vikings. So this is going to be very interesting. I still think it's going to end up being, well, I don't I was gonna say I think it could be Lions or Packers, but I don't know. I'm not sure actually see
Yeah.
the Vikings tailing off. I think they've sustained success enough now that they could remain, yeah, keep winning games here. They just got done losing their first game of the year. So
Oh yeah.
I
Um.
would say it's probably gonna be the Lions, as much as I hate to admit it. I'm not sure if the Packers will be able to catch them. I realize it's only one game, but the Lions are playing very well. In
Right.
fact, maybe better than the Packers. I think the
Yeah.
Packers could end up being playing better by the end of the year, but I think the Lions
Yep.
are still going to win a lot of games, so I'll go with them.
James just said, honest opinion, are the Bears a playoff team? I think all NFC North, because I don't know if you guys saw, but as of yesterday or as of today, apparently, every single NFC, if the playoffs started today, all NFC North teams would be in the
Mhm.
wild card, which is
Yeah, that's crazy.
crazy. Like, who would expect all of one division to be in it? I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either, and it's certainly something. Um, yeah, it's pretty crazy, and you got the Bears with a rookie quarterback who I realize is a very great talent. I'm not denying that at all, but rookies tend to start slow. And I mean, he did start slow, but Bears are still finding ways to win with that great defense. And that's, the sign of a good team is resiliency. And we've seen that out of the Packers as well. And the Bears have been able to stay in games and are sitting at 4-2, firmly in the playoffs at this moment. And they're fourth in the division. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things shake out as we continue
I was going to say
through
the
the
next
rest of the
biggest
year.
matchup is going to be week 11, Packers versus Bears. That's going to be fun to
That's going to
talk
be
about.
fun. Yeah,
Justin said he's not sure about the Lions. Hutchison being out could mess that up. Yeah,
it could.
with the compound fracture of the leg. But James said Justin, their offense is good enough to get by. Yeah, Monra and Goff.
For sure. Yeah, they got lots of weapons there, and Jamison Williams has emerged as a legit weapon as well.
Justin said Bears could be the 7th seed. Yeah, it's very doable. All of our NFC North can be in it.
Yeah,
James said that's our future for the next decade. I think he means like the top in NFC North. And
yeah,
then James also says, make no mistakes about it, though. 2 guaranteed wins against Chicago.
yeah.
Okay, AFC East.
All right, AFC. And yeah, the East, it's definitely the Bills. I cannot see any of the teams catching them. The Bills have looked very good despite the losses of Diggs, and they've lost quite a few key players on defense. Their defense has remained very good, and their offense has not been bad either. They are currently undefeated at home on the year. So,
Whoa, that's
yeah,
crazy.
Bills are doing pretty good things.
Yeah, but first Packers need to win against the Jaguars. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun game. That's tough for me to guess about because it's in Florida. We know the Packers usually do bad in Florida. It's hard. Who do you think? Well, okay, never mind. AFC South.
Yeah, AFC South. It's got to be the Texans here. We talked about the Jaguars. I would certainly hope the Packers can win against them. They have looked like hot garbage to start this season. Two
Yeah.
and five currently,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
have not been able to win a game on the road so far. So
The Jaguars have it.
yes, they have
Interesting.
not won a game on the road. 0-4 on the
What is?
road. And Colts are doing all right. They probably have a better chance of winning when Joe Flacco is out there. I'm not sure how their QB situation is going to shake out, but regardless, it's definitely the Texans' division to lose at this point.
Also Titans. Who do you think is going to be their quarterback? Rudolph or Levis?
Tough decision. I don't think either of those QBs are the answer. So to me, it doesn't really matter which they put in because they're not going to win this year or any other year with those
Very good
quarterbacks.
point.
So
Just made a good point. Trevor is prone to turnovers. We saw that against the Patriots in London.
yeah.
Oh my God, the Jaguars defense is going to be awful. Boo. Yeah, but it's in Florida. We always do bad in Florida for some odd reason. It's also
Yeah.
doesn't help that it's hot right now in Florida too. It's
Yeah. I
like
mean, it's early in
70.
the year, so you're going to have that for sure.
It's like Lambeau South. No, Lambeau South is AT&T. AFC West.
AFC West. This is not very hard.
Chiefs.
Chiefs for sure. Undefeated. The only remaining undefeated team, and just got done beating a very good team in the 49ers, who certainly are suffering from injuries at this point, but they have not looked like a Super Bowl caliber team, but yet they keep finding ways to win. And if you do that, you're probably a Super Bowl caliber team. So
Okay.
yeah, definitely the Chiefs.
AFC North.
And the
No?
AFC North. This is pretty interesting. Steelers finding ways to win with their
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Russ really was cooking last night. So definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes. And I'm going to have to go with the Ravens. I just going to have a hard time. Like if the Steelers and Ravens were matching up, I would definitely pick the Ravens to win. But man, the Steelers have continually found ways to win. Of course, the defense is great again. They always are. But I think it is going to be the Ravens. But man, Steelers definitely a team to watch. They've definitely been overperforming so far.
So I just looked up the weather for Sunday in Jacksonville. It's going to be 60 for the low and 80 for the high with sunny. It's going to be a hot day.
Yeah.
Do you like the white jerseys that we wore Sunday?
Yeah, I thought they were pretty good. Yeah. I thought they looked clean. Very nice.
What was your thoughts about the gold stripe, not gold stripe on the middle?
Yeah, I've heard people talking a lot about that. To me, it's a non-issue. It might make it better. I don't know. I didn't I've seen, people photoshopping it in and stuff, looking at those pictures versus without. And I don't really care too much, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And if it's one game a year, I'm
Mhm.
totally fine with it. Certainly, I don't want them to be their new uniforms, but they're not
Mhm.
going to be. You know, it's
Yeah.
still green and gold, and so I think it's actually honestly kind of cool to have, to mix things up one game out of the
Yeah.
year.
I heard we're supposed to be wearing the Salute to Service jerseys this year, and I'm excited to see those because we haven't seen those in a while. I feel like
Yeah.
the camo, and we're wearing our alternate 50s too. What are
Hmm.
your opinions about the alternate 50s, the 50s jerseys? Do you like them?
Um,
Get them?
I don't have a huge preference. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I like being able to mix it up, with
Yeah.
throwback jerseys a
It's
game
fun.
out of the year, like I said. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I think it's cool.
Justin said, "Wear white uniforms in prime time." Yeah, I agree. I don't. Do you
Yeah, that
think
would have
the
been.
Texans and Packers game should have been in prime time
I feel like it should have. Yeah,
versus that Jaguars and Steelers or Jaguars and Jets game or Steelers and Jets game, which ended in bad? Aaron Rodgers just kept throwing interceptions after interception after interception with
yeah,
Devontae Adams. What?
yeah. I'm not real sure why. Why? Yeah, the NFL keeps putting the Jets on prime time. Apparently, they think they're gonna get good sometime, or I don't know. Maybe people like watching the Jets. I mean, I get it. I guess it's Aaron Rodgers, but and now Devontae Adams, but that certainly didn't really uh, look all that great.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I don't know. Wait, you said Ravens for AFC North, right?
I did.
Okay. I'll talk about fourth quarter of the game because I realized we didn't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the fourth quarter was what won them the game. Game-winning field goal right at the end was what did it, and so very very good way to end it for sure, with the game winner. And kind of ironic, the day or the week, I guess, you get a new kicker, get that game winning scenario, and this time he makes it, and we get the W. So yeah, certainly a big quarter just because of that.
Um, Justin said Rogers honestly needs to retire. I think it's time for him to retire. I'm not gonna lie.
It probably is. Yeah, I think he's coming, at this point. He's old enough. He's not really willing to learn a new offense and to have to work with a bunch of young guys. He really likes to throw um, to Alan Lazard and Garrett Wilson and just about nobody else. And maybe it's because of their lack of weapons. I don't know. I tend to blame Rodgers more, but maybe I should be giving him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, he's just starting to regress is really what it looks like. And so it's going to happen to any quarterback, even a guy as talented as Aaron Rodgers.
I just timed out someone for 300 seconds on accident on my phone. Um, Evan Williams is a great safety. That's all I have to say. Opinions on
For
Evan
sure.
Williams?
Yeah, I've been a huge fan of him. Obviously, I tend to be huge fans of great players in general, especially when they play for the Packers. And Evan Williams is one of those. As a fourth round rookie, he's been great, and he's going to continue to be on the field with that play. Crazy. I saw a stat recently here on X. I think I reposted it. I'll just bring that up here real quick.
Yeah, perfect.
Uh, the Packers duo of McKinney and Evan Williams, they have more pass breakups plus interceptions, 15, than catches allowed, 8
Oh
this
wow.
season.
Oh
And
wow.
they are allowing a 16.7 passer rating when targeted.
Oh wow.
So
That's
Is
crazy.
this the best safety duo in the league? Certainly looks like it right now. I wrote an article about that after last week's game,
Mhm.
and a little bit more about McKinney and Williams, and they have emerged as two very, very good safeties in this league, and it is very refreshing. We haven't seen that in quite some time, and literally on the year that they are rebuilding the position in the offseason, they they sign McKinney, they draft a bunch of guys, and suddenly it looks like they have the best safeties in the league. So that's pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
I was also gonna say, didn't a lot of people say this year's or last year's safety room wasn't the best in the draft too? I heard
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah. In the draft, I don't think it was the greatest.
No.
And I mean, the last couple seasons, the draft class for safeties wasn't all that great. Safeties seemed to be kind of hard to find, but the Packers seem to have found more than two, honestly. Javon Bullard looks like a player as well. So it's going to be interesting trying to get all those guys snaps.
Yeah. Also, Edgerrin Cooper. I know he's not a safety, but that's a linebacker,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah, he's great for sure.
Um, Justin just said it's only a matter of time before we see a Hail Mary from Jordan Love. Yeah. Hopefully not this year. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, normally a Hail Mary is a desperation type play. So normally you don't want those unless it's maybe like at the end of the second or sorry, end of the first half or something. But it's not very likely for them for a Hail Mary to succeed no matter who's throwing it. So yeah, I would certainly be all right without seeing one of those.
um, oh, Bear's gonna ask me to say this to you. I'm so sorry. What are your thoughts about the Bears off season?
Um, as far I not gonna lie, don't pay a whole lot of attention to the Bears, and I I think they certainly can always do better, but their off season wasn't terrible. I think to start the year, we've seen plenty of issues with the offensive line. They definitely could have addressed that. And I think maybe that should have been a higher priority than wide receivers. And they addressed that in abundance during the offseason. But overall, I think they actually made some pretty good moves, bringing in a lot of receivers, a lot of weapons for Caleb Williams, and setting him up to succeed. I kind of wish they would have done that for Justin Fields, who I was, a fan of. But it's possible he just wasn't going to be the answer anyway. But you certainly could have gave him a better situation. But hey, they gave Caleb a situation, and it seems like they are playing some pretty good football now. So kudos to them.
Yes. Um, Someone also wants to know who are your top 5 wide receivers of all time?
Of all time, not gonna lie, I don't really have that list in front of me at the moment. Uh, but I mean, I could certainly name a few, I guess. Let me just bring up a list here.
That's fine. And then I'm just going to welcome Cassie to the chat. She's just popped in a little while ago. Hi, Cassie.
Yeah, I would say totally biased here, but if I'm going, I guess, well, maybe I should start at five. I'll start at five. I don't. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge NFL, historian or whatever. I'm pretty young, and I know I have a cousin who is also, in his 20s, I think. He's not old by any means, and he's all into the history of the league. I don't find that as interesting as some people do. But if I had um, to make a list, I guess I could put go with um, I'll just say Calvin Johnson at number 5. Short career, very good when he played. Number 4, I'll just go ahead and put Sterling Sharp in there. Totally biased there as well. Also short career, somehow not a Hall of Famer. He's the one guy I've looked at a lot when I've looked back on some Packers history. I know more history on the Packers, and I don't know a ton of that either, but
Right.
more than NFL in general. And when I've looked at Sterling Sharp, he was phenomenal when he was on the field. His career was cut short, and he somehow did not make the Hall of Fame. I was really impressed with Shannon Sharp's Hall of Fame speech, and when he said it's crazy how he's the only family member in the Hall of Fame, and he's not even the best player, best athlete in his own family, and mentioning that Sterling was the better player than him and not in the Hall of Fame somehow. So I'll put him at number 4. Number 3, I can go with Randy Moss. Number 2, Jerry Rice. And number 1, Don Hudson, another Packer. Kind of defined the position, I guess, way back in the 1930s and 40s. So really kind of, I guess, was, kind of considered the, what really made the wide receiver position what it is today a little bit. So,
Yeah, another person said Larry Fitzgerald for a top 5 wide
for
receiver.
sure. Yeah, he's definitely in that conversation. Was very good. I got to watch him a little bit during my young fandom when I first became a fan. I remember one of probably my most memorable Packers game that I've ever watched was the Packers Cardinals game back in, I don't even remember what year, 2015, 16, I believe, somewhere in that range. They played the Cardinals in the divisional round, and Rodgers threw a pair of Hail Marys to tie it up. And then in overtime, Fitzgerald got to see him firsthand gash the Packers and single-handedly kind of put that game away for the Cardinals. Either way, that was still a very memorable game for me. Very, very fun to watch.
Someone just said top 5: Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Michael Irvin, Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad.
And then Justin said that OT was brutal in chat.
For sure.
Okay. We're kind of running down. I got told let's do this. Let's make predictions before Sunday night or Monday Night Football. Who do you have winning? It's Ravens and Bucks for the first game.
All right. Ravens and Bucks. That just reminds me. I think I might have forgot to make my picks in a pick'em pool that I'm in, but that's besides the point. As far as that game, I like upsets and I like the Bucks, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Bucks in this one.
Chargers and who is it? Saints, maybe? I don't know.
I'm not even sure.
It's Manning cast is Chargers and Cardinals. Ooh.
Oh, that's a fun one. I'd have to go with the Cardinals in that one. Saints have really fallen off, and
yeah.
As bad as the Cardinals' defense is, their offense is quite good. So yeah, I'd have to go with them in that one.
Okay, and it's the Chargers and Cardinals, not Saints, by the way.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're fine. It was me that said it.
Yeah, that does make it a little bit closer. I might actually have to go with the Chargers there, because Chargers, Cardinals, and you got Jim Harbaugh as the coach, and they like to run the ball, and They seem a
Um,
little bit like, the Steelers type of a team where they like to run the ball, ground and pound, play good defense, and just find ways to win. Well coached team. So yeah, I probably would have to go with the Chargers there just because of the Cardinals defense. If their defense was a little bit better, I think they would be a very good team this year because I'm a big believer in their offense for sure.
Justin has Ravens and Chargers winning. Hey, you two, whoever's in chat, who do you guys have winning? Okay. So we have final 3 questions. I don't know. Well, because like I told you in the preseason or post show, pre show, whatever it is, we are getting close to 1 year. However, we're going to start adding like 1 year questions kind of into the show for a little bit. Chargers and Bucks win tonight. Okay, so James kind of thinks the same way as you do.
Okay.
How have you seen yourself grow in terms of the podcast over the year, over your guys' podcast?
Yeah. Just getting better at the actual, presenting part. And also I've tried to improve the show just as far as, slowly, getting more social media platforms, setting up accounts there, and also just I just recently, well, I mean, I guess I've been doing it for a little while now, but started doing actual video podcasting on
Oh,
YouTube.
yeah.
So while before it was basically audio only,
Right.
just on audio platforms. So yeah, just slowly, improving it in those ways, and then just getting better myself in the actual delivering of the podcast.
Yeah, because I knew, because when I subscribed to you, you were just audio. You were like a small
Hmm.
channel back then.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
I'm still a very small channel. I think I have less than 50 subscribers on YouTube, so
hey,
it's not something that grows fast. I mean, there's a
mhm,
lot of competition in the sports podcasting industry for sure. A lot of people like to do it, and it's something that um, there's just a lot of different shows out there for sure. But I like doing it. I consider it more of a hobby than anything, and so obviously, being able to continue to grow the show is a plus. But if I can continue to talk about the Packers and do what I enjoy doing,
right.
that's a win for me.
What is your favorite thing about podcasting, and has it changed when you first started? I know you kind of basically just answered this question.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Just talking about the Packers really is my favorite part about it, and I don't always enjoy it as far as the production and everything. And I almost used to do more as far as putting out, shorter reels and clips, shorts, whatever
Right.
of episodes. And I've not done that as much recently, but I just enjoy, talking football and, with all the other things I'm doing. I honestly have not watched a full Packers game in a little while now because, I like to, hang out with friends, whatever, do other things on Sunday afternoons, even more than football. So I don't even prioritize football, but I do enjoy watching it whenever I do get the chance and talking about it. And so I
Yeah.
continue to try to put out, good content as best as I can, and about the Packers. And it's just a lot of fun, and part of that is bringing guests on the show too. I would say that's one of my other,
Mhm.
uh, a big part of it as well, as far as what I enjoy doing.
Right. Who has been your top guest that you want to get on your show? Like, if you could have a guest, who would it be? Who would you say?
If I could have, any guest, it would maybe be someone like, I'm not sure, maybe a player. I
Mhm.
have had Paul Brettel on the show earlier, one of the
Nice.
Packers beat writers,
Oh,
and that was a lot of fun for sure, being able to pick his brain a little bit, someone who's actually around the Packers. But
right.
as far as in the future, maybe, another Someone like Andy Herman would be a lot of fun for sure. I've listened to him a lot and I'm a big fan of his work. And also maybe someone like Romeo Dobbs, who I'm a big fan of,
Okay.
would be a lot of fun to
Yeah.
have on the show.
So speaking of one that we had, our biggest one, I would say, is Tom Grossi for sure.
Yeah.
That was so hard to get. Not really. We just kept tweeting him over daily, kind of like, hey, come on our show, blah, blah, blah. Like, until he did it. And like day 17 or something, he said yes to hop on to our show,
Yeah.
which was huge for us, I would say.
For sure.
And that's kind of how we hit 100, is his subscribers actually came over to us.
Yeah.
And rated us, kind of. And we just sprouted up from there. And we had people like Matt Ramage on too and stuff.
Yeah.
And like Dan Kotnick and Nick and Amr and Bernie and a lot of amazing people. Like yourself and Isaac and everyone. Mm-hmm. It's so fun. Like podcasting, in my opinion, is so much fun.
For sure.
Because you never know who you get to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is kind of like my full-time job as of right now. So I pretty much do podcasting the whole entire time, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know like what could go wrong and stuff. Yeah. So if Tom Grossi watches this episode, what would your message be to him?
Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, yeah, gotta love a great Packers fan for sure.
Mm-hmm. So do you have any questions for me before we wrap up the show?
Just a really random one, I guess. I could ask, who's your favorite Packers player?
So I'm actually wearing the jersey right now. It was Rasul Douglas.
Gotcha.
He was my favorite just because like he wished me happy birthday on Twitter like a couple years ago on my old Twitter account. So it just like sprouted from there.
Yeah,
but for me, I would say I was a huge fan of Lucas Van Ness at the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Peter's not here, so I'm allowed to say this. Because Peter would say I have different players. He would say I loved Max Mellon and Elijah Jones, Boston College and Rutgers from this year's draft. Kind of like them. I kind of wish they were a Packer, but they weren't. We had other options. But for me, I would say I'm a huge defensive girl, so I love Lucas Van Ness. One of my, like, for former offense, I also like Sammy Watkins. Just because some of these players' families are so nice. Like, as someone that has met Sammy Watkins' like family before, like not personal, well, close family, I guess. They're so nice. Like you would never know that from the player.
Mm-hmm.
It's just incredible to like talk to the family members. But I would say like right now would be Jaden Reed on offense. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh. I'm just going to say final thoughts, I think. So, maybe I won't. Hey, chat, do you guys have anything to say? Comments or questions? Oh, okay. Everything's fine, guys. I'm just going to wrap it up from here. Thanks, James. So you guys can find me at the podcast. It was great. Yeah, looking forward to next week. Packers win 35-10 over Jacksonville. I don't know scores yet for the game. I hope everyone has a safe Monday night. And there are many shows that you guys can find me on, obviously. This is one of the major ones, Mac and Cheese Podcast. You can find me personally on the Twitter at Mary90118710 on my personal channel, or we have a Twitter for the podcast as well. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications. Please follow the podcast at X or Twitter at Mac Podcast 2023. You guys can find me on this podcast Life and Mary podcast, Disney Nerd podcast, and Midwestern Chaos. Speaking of Midwestern Chaos, Peter and I will be covering the Bills and the Raiders trades, the newest trade from Devontae Adams to Amari Cooper and much more. And then tomorrow, Cassie and I'm pretty sure I can say this now, so I will. Cassie and I will be covering The Wiz as we look forward to covering Wicked in November. And you guys can hear me on the Spaces tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I will retweet the Spaces. And there might be a surprise live this weekend. Unsure about that. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching me. Oh, also, my friend Brittany, she's a subscriber of ours, so thank you, Brittany. She is writing a book, so if you guys can please read it, that would be amazing. And yeah, go back, go. Also, one quick note, if you guys are still watching, please either raid Game on Wisconsin, they're live right now, or Matt Ramage. Put hashtag MacAttack in chat. Thank you. Bye.